What if this war isn't really about war? What if it's about something much bigger? Control of the global oil market. Because right now, one move has just disrupted nearly 20% of the world's supply. And when supply disappears, someone else steps in. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is not just another shipping route. It's one of the most important checkpoints in the global economy. Roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow stretch of water every single day. That's around 16 to 20 million barrels per day, fuel powering entire economies and energy that keeps industries alive. There's no real alternative that can handle that scale. So when this checkpoint is disrupted, it's not just a regional issue, it's a global shock. The US blockade is targeted. It's not just shutting down all oil. It's primarily aimed at restricting Iran's ability to export oil. But here's the reality. Even partial disruption causes chaos. Oil prices spike above $100, tankers get stranded, and supply chains freeze. And even when some oil still flows, the market reacts as if supply is collapsing, because uncertainty is everything. Oil markets don't wait for shortages, they react to the possibility of them. Iran isn't just any country. It is a major oil producer, around 4 million barrels per day output and one of the largest reserves in the world. But due to sanctions, its oil was already somewhat restricted. Now imagine you further limit its ability to export, what happens? That supply disappears from the market, and when supply disappears, prices go up. When global oil supply tightens, prices rise, demand shifts, and alternative suppliers become more valuable. And right now, one supplier is in a unique position, and that's the United States. Because US oil doesn't rely on Hormuz, can be shipped independently, and becomes more attractive than unstable markets. In fact, recent market movements have shown US crude gaining an unusual advantage due to these disruptions. When the global supply chain breaks, local supply becomes king. So now we ask the real question. Is this just about security, or is there an economic angle? Because from a purely strategic perspective, reduce a rival's output, create global scarcity, and position yourself as a stable supplier, that's a powerful combination, especially when oil is still one of the world's most important resources. Energy isn't just power, it's also leverage. Now, this isn't a perfect strategy. There are still major risks. Global inflation spikes, allies suffer high energy costs, economic instability increases, and potential military escalation. In fact, analysts warn that prolonged disruption could damage the global economy significantly. And here's the key. The US does not fully replace Middle Eastern supply, not at that scale, and at least not instantly. This is bigger than one country. It's about how global energy works. Oil markets are interconnected. Remove supply from one region, and the entire system adjusts. Prices rise globally, trade routes shift, and power balances change. Countries that can produce energy reliably gain influence. Countries that can't lose leverage. Maybe this is about security. Maybe it's about geopolitics. Maybe it's about something else entirely. But when 20% of the world's oil supply is disrupted and one country suddenly becomes more important, it's worth asking who really benefits.